Today I fucked up, not closing out of a porn tab at max volume before taking my laptop to school. Obligatory. This happened in 2018. At this time I was a 30-year-old woman in my final year of grad school. Took some time off between high school and college, hence being 30 finishing college. Using my main because I don't share my username with people ever. Also porn is normal. Not at school though probably. Anyway, let's get to the fuck up. One weekend I was watching some grade A pornography on my laptop with my husband. We watch porn together sometimes during sexy time, with the volume turned all the way up for some godforsaken reason. Things got steamy early and I slapped the laptop closed. Fuck up number 1. We got busy. I then entirely forgot I had left a tab open at max volume in the middle of the video. Fuck up number 2. The next day I woke up and headed to campus in the morning to meet up with a study group in the library. Without thinking I threw my laptop in my bag. Fuck up number 3. I meet up with my group in the library, where the general volume of the room could best be described as a light murmur of polite library etiquette, like a 0.05 on a scale of 1 to 10. We settle in and catch up for a minute, before I open up my laptop. Final fuck up. Of course the laptop battery hadn't died out of any sort of loyalty to me. It picks up exactly where I had left off, with a full screen, max volume, felt like an 11 on that scale of 1 to 10, complete with all the heavy breathing and high-pitched moaning and sack-slapping sounds. My face must have been either the most pale or the most bright red imaginable. I mute it and close the window at warp speed. It's now dead silent and literally every single person in the library is turning to look at the fucking dumbass playing a climactic porn scene at max volume in the fucking library. My group starts laughing their asses off as I try to explain why the fuck I was in the middle of watching porn. I still work with 3 of these people. When I told my husband what happened, I only got through I pulled out my laptop part of the story before he knew exactly what must have happened and started dying laughing while trying, not very hard, to keep a straight face through the rest of the story. I learned a valuable lesson that day about properly closing out of shit. So yeah, needless to say I haven't repeated this mistake. Too long didn't read, slapped my laptop closed instead of closing out of a porn window. It resumed playing at max volume when I opened it the next morning at school. Should have screamed at the top of your lungs like a banshee to mask the sounds coming from the computer while smashing the Alt plus F4 on the keyboard. You might have gotten away. Ha ha ha. Thanks Osama 3. Immediately close it and say what the hell, that's not mine, I am into way weirder shit. I applaud you for managing to come out of the situation still finding humor. I did that once and I nearly ended up being expelled because there was a mother with her kid in the library at the time, but I wheedled my way through with a ton of apologies. Probably used your Sith mind tricks. Yeah, nobody seemed offended or anything, which was a silver lining I guess. Glad you got it all worked out in the end. I feel like women, on average, have less good habits on hiding pornography because they, on average, are more likely to start watching when they are already adults and out of the home. Today I fucked up by accidentally whipping my dick out in front of my mom. I have Tourette's syndrome, which is a disorder where you do things uncontrollably, for example, random twitching, shouting, cursing, etc. So one day I randomly picked up this tick where I whip my dick out for like a split second and then put it back in. I can control it outside, but not at home, because that's where I usually let my ticks out. I try to conceal it as much as possible, especially when my parents are home, usually by doing it where they can't see me. You can probably see where this is going. So one day, my parents are working and I'm home alone, and I'm walking into the kitchen where I suddenly have the urge to whip my dick out. Assuming that my parents weren't home, I take my shaft out, and look who's sitting at the kitchen table right in front of me. My mom staring directly at my dick. I immediately put it back in and apologized profusely, telling her that it was a tick. She understood, but I could clearly tell she was uncomfortable. This is definitely gonna be one of the moments that will keep me awake at like 3 AM 10 years from now. TL, Doctor, I have Tourette's, and one of my tics is whipping out my dick, and I accidentally did it in front of my mom when I thought she was at work. Oh snap, my 9-year-old has Tourette's. He makes really screwed up faces and does silent screaming when he's concentrating, and recently developed a tic where he's constantly clearing his throat, and he does things with his hands sometimes too. Crossing my fingers it doesn't get like this for him, Lamau. Tics change all the time with Tourette's though, so I really hope this one changes for you. Smiley face. What an anticlimactic ending. Till Tourette's syndrome has physical tics XD. I don't know how Tourette's works. So you feel random urges, but you're conscious of them, so you can choose whether to give in or not. I always kind of thought tics were more subconscious, so that they happened before you could think to stop them. It's different for everyone really. My tics are more mild, so I'm just better at controlling them. What are you doing, Step Tourette's son? Today I fucked up by going to the store with my wife. Obligatory. This was a few years ago. 4 or so. I work nights, so when my wife wanted to go to the drugstore at around 2 p.m. I was still sleeping. She said we need to pick up some arnica. I love her dearly, so there's no complaints about being woken, but I did basically pull on some pants and call it good enough for a quick trip out in public. When we get there, she's going up and down the aisles, but I wanted to save time. The pharmacist wasn't busy at the time, so I asked where the arnica is and she came out to show me. After I grabbed a tube of the stuff and tracked down my wife, I casually asked her what it was for. It's to help bruises fade faster. What? Suddenly I'm wide awake. She had a black eye at the time, among other superficial injuries, because she takes Krav Maga classes. It's nothing new for us, but at this particular moment I'm standing there in my undershirt, literally wearing a wife beater, and had just asked a pharmacist to help me find the make bruises go away juice. After I pointed out to her what it looked like, we bought our cream and got the hell out of there before somebody got it into their head to take our license plate and send the police after me. Too long didn't read. I bought some bruise healing medicine for my wife's black eye without knowing what it was for. I was dressed like a slob and I'm positive the pharmacist thought I had beaten her. I feel ya. Back in the 90s my wife got hit in the eye by a softball. I got dirty looks the whole time she was healing. I had this almost exact same situation. Many years ago my now ex-wife fell off her bike and face planted into the curb. She had a wicked black eye and grazes all over her face. A few days later I took her down to the local supermarket and couldn't understand why I was getting a lot of angry looks. I even had a few guys deliberately barge into me. Got to the till and the cashier wouldn't look me in the eye or even talk to me. Then the penny dropped. My ex also had noticed and explained to the cashier, and she laughed and apologized. Apparently, she was going to tell security to hassle me when we left for being a wife-beating scumbag. To be fair to her, it was summer and yes, I had a wife beater on. Funnily enough, I'm a Krav Maga instructor and I also had a black eye from the week before. It must have looked to everyone like she'd hit me back. You should have said, "Sure, officer, I beat her, but not in the way you're thinking." Honestly, the bed springs take the brunt of the brutality. My GF and I hurt each other accidentally all the time, to the point it looks like we're toxic as hell. Nice post. This will definitely throw the judge off your trail, you /wife beater.